So thank you so much, Eamon, for what I think we can all agree was a phenomenal reading.
Yes!
So the fun doesn't stop there. I hope you still have some energy left. We have our open mic. I know the open mic in the Whitehouse has a really wonderful history, and I'm so delighted that we have a fine group of writers tonight and performers that are going to read for us. So just a couple of quick things before we get started. We will be recording. If anybody doesn't want the recording afterwards, doesn't want to be put up online, just let us know and we can cut that. And also, as you may know, this new series is called the First Wednesday series at the Whitehouse with the Limerick Writer Centre. The First Wednesday series is a really good name because it's very easy to remember. It is the first Wednesday of every month. Yeah. So our next event will be on Wednesday the 6th of September, and we'll have the wonderful Great Auntie reading for us. So I hope you all come along and join us again for that. So, kick us off here for the open mic tonight. We have the new up-and-coming writer who is not very well known to the writing scene in Limerick, but I think he's going to go very far. It is Dominic Taylor.
Yes, I'm actually really delighted to be here tonight at the inaugural sort of session of the new series at the Whitehouse. I read here back in 2003 when Barney started the Whitehouse Poetry Revival. So to continue on that for another series, I'm actually delighted with it. The Whitehouse has always been central to poetry in Limerick, ever since 1954 when Desmond O'Grady first started the Poetry Circle and created a democratic space for everybody to come in to read their work. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I haven't been writing poetry lately, mostly songwriting is what I'm doing. But over the years, I've written a few bits, and there was a photograph up in social media during the week of a famous bar in town which I used to frequent in the middle 70s called Buddy's Bar. I used to go there from 1977 onwards for about 6 or 7 years, and it was like a home from home. You know, we sort of grew up in there. And the two people who ran it, Eddie and Rita Maloney, they were like mother and father to most people inside there. So my poem is called Motherless Children. We entered through the long hall, this umbilical cord from the street. Inside in the dark, room-like interior, we drank in the nectar of Seeger's night moves. Later, we danced to the beat of the stars, the boom of the bass still in our ears. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dominic. And yes, thank to Desmond, to Barney, to yourself, for all the people who've gotten us here and all that went into making the Whitehouse such a cultural institution. It's great to just think of our history in that sense. I think also I was actually the last featured performer in the Whitehouse series before it closed, so I feel like I have to pay a debt. So this is why I'm doing this now. So our next performer is the wonderful Cora, who's going to take us.
Cora, will you do the one that you do for Terry? The Terry's book.
This is my friend, the late great poet Terry Murray. So, in the shadow of the whiskey wood, we virgins gathered. We spoke of friendship and how ours would endure, and we settled in the scorching dust. There, amongst the ghosts and photographs, we spoke softly of siren songs and dark and troubled souls, and the power of witchcraft and lust. We raised our glasses to the ancient oracles who veered your trail, and we danced and laughed and sang. Now, safer, stronger, bolder, your words became poems, and the people gathered to hear your words, beloved Terry, a gentle refugee from over trouble's border. Now, your February face, lean as an El Greco painting, speaks sadly of only yesterdays and one sorrowful tomorrow. We smoke a cigarette. Then I swaddle your tiny frame in bed and kiss your forehead. Tenderly, as I would a child, my soul collapsed with sorrow. Today I see you, lit by a sheaf of sunflowers, and hear your voice. And I remember your smile from when your cheeks were full and fat. And I remember the madness and the laughter and the rare old times. And I remember you singing and dancing in a flowery hat. Thanks for listening.
I think Terry was someone who a lot of us met.
Did you know Terry? Yeah, she was very well known. She was here from the beginning of the writers, the old Whitehouse
And I think
poets.
she would be sitting here front and centre.
She would.
So maybe we can raise a glass for Terry.
Terry, that's very nice.
Kieran O'Grady? Kieran here? Can we give a round of applause for Kieran?
So this is a poem about our fascination with bad news. And so it's called The Sunday Papers. The Sunday Papers. Tincture of suffering, drip feed of scandal, savoured over brunch in the sofa cafes, snatched in the shop on a dash to the sea, collected after mass with a litre of milk and 20 carols. In the tick-tock ward, the worn shop trolley creaks. The shaper in the window bed hands out supplements to the less fortunate or able. Later, maybe, a conspiracy. 9/11, disease as a weapon. Bankruptcy is the new black. Headshots from wedding portraits. By evening, pundits are vindicated, victorious or sacked. Somewhere in the unseen, a man's hand lifts a page, lets that fragile wall of words teeter and fall, pondering the next ration of pain and the numbing. Thanks, Lou.
Thank you so much, Kieran. Someone's just asking a very good question there for the readers. We have about 2-3 minutes each, so we want to do 1 or 2 pieces, whatever you're happy with. Up next we have Marie Studer. Marie is here.
Okay, this is called My Wake. Only online followers file past my remains to a man in black crombie swinging a turable. It spumes snaking to social media apps as algorithms circle the parlour. Look at what she shared, he smirks, eyes raised to flood meadow plains, root systems of trees, loving kindness in Dojan Barra, Mary Oliver poems. And what she perceived as smart moves, a profile image of deer, a low-rolling subscription rate, no interest in the services of a password manager. And so much unendorsed product. Yet she opted for a top-of-the-range eco coffin from one of your premium sites. The flock nod flanking the pro bono god. My fused lips refuse to scream as emojis hiss droplets on my face. His words as menacing as the hate of Darth Vader. I am the Lord and net of every space. You are my product. There are no privacy settings. As I am sucked to a vortex of black X. I wake, take a pick off the bedside table, write an addendum to my end of life plan. Okay, this is a very short one. It's a very short poem. It's a painting, Muses, and it's based on The Kiss by Gustav Klimt in the Belvedere Museum in Vienna. In droves of rucksacks and trainers, They swallow the alchemy of primary colours. The gold leaf free-flowing cloaks of lovers draped in manuscript mosaics. Some exchange looks, even kisses. Others hold hands. Remember sheets of pollen and pistil, tremors of sated desire. More ponder the fan the sacred spirit, deboning bodies breathing the cosmos. And for a nonchalant few, I am a tick on a list, a keyring, tote or coaster. And some nights I drift to the figures of my becoming. Gustav and Amelia, pooling haute couture on the studio floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie. Always have a good Mary Oliver reference. So up next then we have Kathleen Rice. Give it up for Kathleen.
Hello, so I've two for you tonight. The first one, so when I travel places I like to take leaves home with me. So this one is about that. It's called Botanicals. Fear not, little leaf, for I have plucked you free. I have lifted you from the confines of this branch, destined to fall and rot. I have immortalized your beauty. Never will you wilt or brown or decompose. I have chosen you. I have dried you out and displayed you, to keep you as you are, processed and untouched. Fear not, little human, foolish as you are. Time will leave none of us preserved. And what lord of earth are you to command me so? Who made you the master of my design? As though in time you will not enrich the very same bedrock upon this soil. We are not so different in the end. I did not bloom for your eyes alone. I was made to flutter and dance, to move as the wind should command. How can I dance behind your glass and betwixt your pages? How can I breathe when you have drained my veins of water and flooded my vacuoles with your wretched chemicals, rancid and brazen? Why must you steal me away and render me useless? An hourglass is bestowed upon my greens and my golds. Nature hath deemed it so. Why then should I fear the end that she has designed? So take me not to your scrapbooks, and pin me not to your boards. Encase me not in your metal and behind your glass. Let me wrestle and dance. Let me drink in the rain, crisp and cool. Let me breathe the billows of air. Let me soak in the sunshine and shelve the snow. And when I have done so, in time, let me fall at long last. Let the breeze carry me. Let the ground surround me. Let the earth and the mushrooms encompass me. Let me breathe my life back into the great her, as she did so for me when first I blossomed upon the meadow. I have a lighter, kind of funny one now. This one's called The Mess. Oh, tower of garbage, ever growing, you betray my state of mind. Oh, mountain of junk, ever encompassing, where do I begin? Oh, vastness of filth, what lurks below? How could I let you grow? Oh, monolith of mess, you reflect a messy mind, and you reek of all my failure. Oh, chasm of doom, you are made in my image, and I have mothered you with my own inadequacy. Oh, fortress of trash, I fear you may gain sentience and ask me, what manner of stress or gloom hath brought my presence in this room? O Everest of rubbish, I must be rid of you, but I am tired, and I am overwhelmed, and maybe you're not so bad after all. Good night, mountain of garbage. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. So in the history of literature, we've had a lot of famous literary families. The Bronte sisters did a lot of wonderful work, but tonight we have not one Royce, but we also have a second one. So Kathleen's sister Amy is up next.
remember so much of you, I am numb with it, breathless. The air fell down so thickly I was afraid of breaking. It was the closeness. It made my throat ache, wanting to speak of it. But we stayed silent, the both of us, still. I felt like a child lying in your bed, and I was so in love with your softness, and we stayed up all night reading from your childhood diary. So close we were breathing in each other's air. Everything changed so quickly. It's all different now. First, my brother brought home a new girl to come and eat dinner with my parents. And then, one by one, all of my friends have turned 18, and now I'm leaving home at the end of the summer. And you asked far too much of me. Damn it, I still haven't forgiven you. I have one more. This one's about how sad it is when summer's over. And other things. Okay. Not that we had a summer this year at all, to be honest. Okay. There is an ache of August that lies inside the sun-creased pages of a book I left on the lawn. It seeps between the tiles of the outdoor swimming pool. And before I have the chance to escape, it finds me, sitting, hands outstretched, watching the last days of summer drip through my fingers, for I cannot hold them. It finds me lying in the waves, overly aware that I am made of water, not knowing where I end and where the ocean begins. For the taste of my sorrow is the same as the salt that flows through my hair. It finds me burying the body in sun-baked leaves and leaving it to decompose, to be washed away by the rain that seeps into the dirt. It finds me, but I am quiet about it. I rearrange my room without a sound, and I go for long walks by myself without a sound, and I get rid of clothes too small without a sound. I let it consume me, but confine it to my chest and cage it behind my teeth, holding still and silent, waiting for this feeling to pass.
Thank you so much, Amy. That was wonderful. Great job. So next up we have a Limerick institution. the one and only Sheila Fitzpatrick.
Thanks very much, Kevin. I will be facilitating a poetry workshop within the next 2 weeks. You can run it by you later. Okay. Indigo child. I ran away. I ran all the way back the raw stretch of the road. Barefooted. I ran and I ran. As far away from this prison of humanity, I ran. Black pebbled tarmac cutting deep into the soles of my feet. On the verge of a breakdown, took a turn at the crossroads, crossed the humpback bridge, where the ploughed fields of my childhood beckoned to me. Without hesitation, I leapt over brambled hedgerows, yellow gorse, bog, and clumps of spike rushes, my heart thumping. I ran after myself, past stone-walled fields of grazing cows, met with the hungry grass. My bare feet bleeding on its lime green aura, traced my bloodline, caught a glimpse of forgotten people in the mirror of a wishing well. My blood warms to the falcha of an ancient Gaelic, welcoming me back to the fort of my tribe. Here, in this ring of solitude, I dismantle my fears, reclaim my identity, and cleansed by the energy of the blue moon, I am an indigo child, bonding with my Mother Earth. Aware of her heartbeat, I stretch my muscles, climb under a blanket of amber leaves, and in the fetal position, feeding from her root cells, My heart flutters in the uterus of the white thorn. Okay. This is a prompt someone gave me, and I had to make up a poem in literally an hour. So this is just, who do I think I am, is the prompt. Who do I think I am? I am a 60 years young chick, a happy chick, Levi denimed ass chick, Doc Martens class chick, a gas chick, cool laid back chick, early morning call chick, me, eccentric, romantic, a crazy mixed up chick, right bowled out chick, a nice chick, pure kind of strong chick, pay my own way chick, artistic, a pink-haired hot chick, as straight as a die. I'm a dead white chick, fan-fucking-tastic. A lucky chick, a spring bunny fun chick, free-spirited witch of a chick, a power above myself chick. I swear to God, on any given day, I am a mystic. And if you want to buy the book, meet out.
For sale now, up at the door. Get a signed copy, it'd be great. Thank you so much, Sheila. So next we have Evelyn Casey, the one and only.
Hi, it's wonderful to be here. I haven't done anything in years. I just literally picked 2 slips of paper out of my scribbles, and the 2 of them have tomorrow in their titles. Thanks, Eamon. That was fantastic. Thanks, John, for bringing this back to Limerick again. I'm so happy. I'm to think which one I do first. This one or this one?
That one.
Okay. The 2 of them have tomorrow. If you were gone tomorrow. If you were gone tomorrow, how long would it take to wash your skin's perfume from my imagination? To fade your kiss from my breath? To lose your smile in the background of my future? To close my eyes and not hear your voice? To forget every moment of disagreement? To appreciate the inheritance of your experience? To not be alone in the dark midday, to feel peace in my core's pleasure of presence, to curtain call memories, standing ovations over and over and over until the last seat is empty. And this one is just called Tomorrow. Just pick them out. Tomorrow. You sneak up on me in the small hours and cover me with your blanket of excitement and new adventure. The past does not allow you to take baggage of pain or crying eyes of regret. Just you wrapped in a brand new dawn of courage. You are drifting with my every breath as my hand reaches to the next season. There you are, millions of you bubbling with passion. My thoughts race willingly towards you and return in hot flames of crashing over me in ties of protection from yesterday. And I thrill with excitement of being covered by your ruby red sky in the dawn of the time we call tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. Up next we have the wonderful Michael Jurek. Everyone doing good? Energy level still up? Don't worry there, I'll try one more time. Thanks, look.
I take it Eamon Carr is a true blue dub. So on that assumption I was going to read
thought you were going to slag him over the match.
Going to read two poems set in Dublin, where I lived while I was studying back in God's old time in UCD in Earlsford Terrace. And I have a vague memory of seeing some hirsute characters hanging around the entrance to the Aula Maxima. I learned afterwards that they were the members of the, how would I say it, embryonic horselips. I don't remember Eamon's face. I remember Barry Devlin and some other faces. All right, yeah. But anyway, in my last year in Dublin, I shared a bedsit with an old school friend from Nina, and the two poems I'm going to read I recall at that time, end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s. So the first one is called Reach Out. On the final night of Trinity term, we raised a glass or three in Cassidy's of Camden Street, imbibing not too wisely and not well. Later in our flat on Rathmines Road, I strummed raucous chords from my first cheap guitar. Next day, with bag and baggage, I head out for home, and you boarded a student flight for JFK. The letters, with their sprawling hieroglyphics, came edged in blue and red. I relished those tales of an Irish cook in a wildwood diner, and how once, pacing the Jersey shore after a late shift, your ears picked out familiar strains from an entertainment hub, the Four Tops pounding their irresistible Motown beat. And I wished I could reach out and be there. And the second one from my new collection, which is also on sale here, this stage of words, is called Romeo on the Doorstep. A Georgian terrace on Rathmines Road, a love-struck Romeo ringing the doorbell of his unresponsive Juliet on the third floor. The faint buzzing tickles our ears on the fourth. Silence. Then Romeo, throwing caution to the wind, fingers a raucous serenade, playing the bell buttons like an accordion. The house in uproar. We open our window, shout, "Go home to fuck," and pitch out a basin of water to dampen his ardour. Half a century ago, the dowsing did the trick. But Romeo, after all this time, no hard feelings. I hope your heart got mended. And Romeo, wherever you are, I hope your suit got dry.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's almost as if there's a lot of really good poetry books for sale. Right over there, at the door. Up next we have Tom Maloney.
Hi, Tom.
Thanks, Anne. Tom Maloney. Maloney, sorry, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
And then after Tom, again, standing one after at the back, will be Joe Healy.
Hi, good, Tom.
Okay, this is a sort of a war poem. It's about my late Uncle Bat, who apparently in the 40s he was working on a farm, and one horse pulled, a horse there in front of him, he was on this boat anyway, he fell off and broke his arm. The fool was actually standing on the boat as the horse was moving along. So we roll on to the 60s. I want to contextualize the poem because you might lose it otherwise. When I was growing up, we had obviously, I suppose lots of houses were like that. We had an outside water system coming in with a truck, and my uncle used to use the bar, which he shouldn't be really doing, to do a bit of acrobatics on the bar. So, that's the context of the poem. It's called Bat's War Wound. After Hitler's army marched across the Polish border, the Luftwaffe in the air, the Dáil introduced the emergency. Neutrals at home followed the far-off clouds, but more in your line, you tackled the Cobb. To this day, Mother holds that he was flighty. Defiant, you stood on the butt anyway, maintained a firm pull on the reins, the village innocent of the Blitzkrieg. A blue sky complemented its peace, till your butt car bumped over a pothole, just as a plane appeared over the hill. And as you gazed amazed, the Cobb bolted. You, being a first-time vaulter, helpless, fell. Part 2. No more like a pole on a cob-drawn butt. You turned to gymnastics in the 60s, on the bar that joined up the water truck to our house. With a perfect 10, could lock your 2 feet, then jump off in front of us. Mother liked to muse, albeit wryly, that you could have been in the circus, but for the war. Grinning at the thought, you'd friction massage your elbow, proudly point to the spot, the knuckle. The shot of pain brought up from memory, how your pothole fall never healed properly, how hard lump apart you got off lightly, how the world changed in the emergency.
Thank you so much, Tom. That was wonderful. So up next is Joe, well on his way. Joe.
I don't have any book to sell, sorry.
Yeah, Joe.
So this is called The Boy Who Was Knocked In. The Deal River goes through West Limerick, and this happened to a school friend of mine, the boy who was knocked in. Tom was age 7 on a walk by the Deal banks with excitable big dogs when it happened. A dog hit off his leg, knocked him into the river. It happened so fast he sunk to the bottom. It felt so peaceful. Tom could see the light overhead and knew if he opened his mouth it would be all over. But he remembered his teacher who taught them the basics of swimming while lying on their stomachs on the desks in the classroom. Tom moved his arms in an arc and floated up to the surface, where my Uncle Mike caught the boy and pulled him out of the water. Tom remembers Mike's old Volkswagen and the drive home to his mother. She never gave out that day. Tom wonders, was he meant to win the lotto? The peace he found, he uses in his paramedic career. When someone is in trouble and we need a cool head, you bring what you know to the surface again. This is in memory of Rory Gallagher. We've had some great musicians in Ireland. Marslips, I remember seeing them in the Olympic Ballroom in Newcastle Western Centre years ago, and brilliant band. And this is a day I met Rory Gallagher, and you remember the old cassette tapes we used to have, so this is Rory's tape. Old cassette tape called Photo Finish. Rory launched it in '78, uncorked a bottle of vintage. 3 years later, he sat at the next table at the Highway Restaurant in Raheen. Didn't recognise him without his guitar. His hair was tied up. Thought he looked familiar as he sipped red wine till the waitress said his name and he was gone. How our tape survived, I'll never know. John and Liam and I, our first cars at 19, Volkswagen Beetles and Opel Cadets. Rory's tape blasted out on the Western Plain as we cruised on out West Limerick. That day we could have spoken, I could have run out to his car, got an autograph from the greatest blues guitarist. The old tape still does background for air guitar, with check shirts and never the same.
Thank you so much, Joe. John Pinchman? John here? Okay, we'll finish up after John then.
I'm going to read a poem that I actually read here at the open mic poetry night on the 20th of November, 2013. That innocent morning in California. Finally, the big day was here, Friday, November 22nd, 1963. Opening night for our Los Gatos High School junior class play, Arsenic and Old Lace. And all that morning we were so excited, joking with friends and fellow cast members, anticipating the laughs our black comedy would bring, the story of two middle-aged spinsters who poisoned lonely old men. And to be played by me, their crazy brother Teddy, who thought that he was Big Mustache Pince-Nez President Theodore Roosevelt, bursting in time after time, running up his San Juan Hill stairs, in tux or combat fatigues, blowing his bugle, yelling, "Charge!" But near lunchtime, everything changed. On the PA system, the principal broke into our classes. His voice, not its confident tone. He told us something had happened, and then radio on. History unfolding in Dallas. Our president of only 3 years shot. Yes, the bright, witty man with the strange Boston accent who told us, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." We all imitated the voice of the man who vowed to put an American on the moon before the close of the decade. But now, it was over for him, and our play, too, postponed for 2 weeks. Though all considered, it went well enough. Many of us American baby boomers had grown up in a happier new world than our parents' Great Depression and World War II. Watching TV, sock hopping to rock and roll. The first time teenagers were a vital part of popular culture. But from that fateful morning, more darkness followed. The struggle for civil rights, the Vietnam War, shooting deaths of Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy, and then life-changing event number 2, 9/11. Followed by the disastrous war in Iraq, the Great Recession, triumphs of the rich and powerful, continuous climate change. Ages of innocence are short-lived. Odd that the middle-aged yank in front of you now would be President Roosevelt, is here tonight in another White House and lives just 4 miles where JFK's middle name came from. This Friday, 50 years from that day, I will shine that old brass bugle and play a charge in memory of the inspirational, ever-young man whose bright spirit changed so many lives, including mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. The Whitehouse poetry, immortalized in literature. Okay, so Beth Henry up next. Right.
Desert bloom. Waves of shapes, chasing notes, looking forwards, looking back. Tonic of life's cadence, caught in the lure of history's elasticity. Beauty in shadow scratches the fabric of forgotten voices, gnaws at warps, colors a grey world to life. Roots yet to surface find the melody, strumming in step with the dance, igniting the flow. Bursts of surprise fill vacuums, banjo fingers, fiddle fingers, bowra knuckles, accordion limbs, unsung, furious sound channels the air in rhythm. Truth in bewildered fantasy, news of wild and free, unfolds a desert bloom.
Thank you so much, Beth. That was beautiful. Up next we have Mary B. Mary's mysterious woman who told me her second name was just B. And that was all I was given. Welcome, Mary.
I'm just not an actual poet, so I don't want it to look like I'm pretending I am. But anyway, I'll just have to open this up. Okay, so just being surrounded by so many poets, this is a little ode to poetry, being there for those moments where you don't have the words or whatever. This is a thanks to having a poem when there's a final goodbye, and it's nice to have something. What would we do without poets? Without the poets, we'd be alone with our sorrow and our joy. At 6s and 7s forever, you and I. I'll see you in the wild geese and like you, being okay just being and being more than okay. I'll feel you in words of beauty, green eyes and those lips, wag at holding hands and holding hips. When they write of idiosyncrasies, I'll think of yours and smile, you having a think in your duvet pile. I'll sit with phrases as though sitting with you and lap up lyrics lilting free, words of hope and love and beauty, imagine they touch you like me. I'll turn to the poets when I feel lonely and insane, vent grief and rage and laugh things off, wonder if you can do the same. The world is our oyster, little pearl, between us could be vast unsaid oceans, if not for the poets to conjure co-presence, give space to our emotions. Through poems, I'll sketch you into my future, like the dead whose image outlives them. Poetry is the gift that keeps on giving. Poetic license, permission.
I don't know, Mary, you look and sound like a poet to me.
Yay. Definitely, yay.
Up next we have Patrice McDermott. Patrice said she was a maybe. How are you feeling, Patrice?
I'm okay.
Hi, these aren't my poems, these are poems that my brother who passed away last year. Sorry, no, I didn't think I was going to do this. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to recite it, okay?
That's lovely.
And
thanks for sharing that.
That's
lovely.
By the way, his name is Cormac Shaw, and he's been writing poetry since I was a child. He was about 9 years older than me, and all my life I knew him writing poetry. He taught us all how to play poker, which my parents weren't too happy about, play chess, play cards, everything. But because there was 9 of us there, my parents were quite happy because he kept us entertained. He was the eldest. So here we go, right? So the first poem is An Old Man Remembers. An old man sitting on a chair gazing towards the hall, studying a picture that hangs upon the wall. A picture of a little boy, as once he used to be. For this tired old man, it holds a memory. A memory of a little boy who used to be his pride and joy. A little boy who is now grown, and raised a family of his own. In a way, it makes him kind of sad to hear somebody else call his little boy Dad. Thank you. So, the second one is very short, but this poem was read out at his funeral. So, at the same time, it's a very, very happy poem. It's called The Most Beautiful Sound. The most beautiful sound I've ever heard is not the singing of a bird, not the wind among the trees, a sound more beautiful than these. A sound, the greatest sound of all sounds, throughout the world it resounds. It brings a teardrop to my eye to hear a newborn baby cry.
Thank you so much. Was it Cormac, Patrice, was your brother's name? To Cormac Shaw, a wonderful poet, brother, and poker teacher. We'll be very proud of you tonight, I think. And I think no one's ever gone many live on them stories. So up next we have Tommy Collins. Tommy is a wonderful bilingual poet, and once upon a time had a wonderful, thriving student theatre career all the way back in Mary Metcalfe College, which I hope I might pick back up someday.
I put my name down on the list without knowing what I was going to read, but I think I'll do one. I think it was the first poem I ever got published. I think it was in Revival 5, about 16 years ago now.
Can't hear you.
Oh. Is that better?
Yeah.
So yeah, this was in the Revival Journal, I think 16 years ago now. So I'll read it in English first and then I'll try an Irish version of it. Ripple Shivers. I have seen countless different kinds of whites and multicoloured lights on the murky surface of the Shannon when night has fallen on this city. I have stepped around the broken green and clear glass pieces on the ground, the flattened blue and gold beer cans, the smouldering ends of cigarettes. I've heard the roar of engines pass, the screech of tyres as they break, the snares and beats of stereos that blare from cars stopped at traffic lights. I've smelt the damp from alleyways, hiss, exhaust fumes, scattered chips, half drowned in salt and vinegar. They assault the air on nights like this. I have felt the breeze pass through the streets, between the buildings damp and cool, with bits of dust and dirt and rain from scaffold cages on new hotels. I have turned my head and walked away, looked down on the river from the bridge, seen formless ripple shivers there, and preferred those reflections of the city. Agus an istrí Gaeilge. Cuilihíní. Tá feici agam gachgil a chinál sáilte il dachacha is sáilte bána ar chracan dearcha bráach na seanna tar éis titim na híthe ar an gahar seo. Tá seachanta agam na glimí glasa ina smitheríní ar nas ráideanna, na caní orga is garm a beorach, gach bun tátín caite lacathe. Tá cloiste agam bór na minil, scréach na goscáin ar na rahí, srang is builí na stereóna ó bhuaistáin stoppathe ag an gúine. Tá bodathe agam an taise chrailsráide, múg sketche, scalóga fuaire, leváite is salam agus finnégar, íhansa mar seo trúlíonn siad an téir. Tá braite agam an rada glíthe, fluchas fuair idir na forganmh, trom le lyrig smooth is farhanna, ag titim ó scafalra na nóstán nua. Tá fágtha ní ag an áit sin ilig, déchas an nuas overhead an tá séilig, chonach discernach na Cuilihíní ar an isce, is do bansan am iad ná an deal carach seo.
Marvelous, Tommy, that was wonderful. Up next we have the fantastic Edward O'Dwyer. I know how good Edward is as a writer because I have lost many writing competitions to him. Many.
Enough. Child prodigy. Child fucking prodigy.
No pressure there now.
It's the child part I can't live up to. I'm going to do a poem from my most recent collection, the last poem in it. If you can't hear me, enjoy the music. If you can, maybe go enjoy the music, I don't know. This poem is called To Be Kissed Extraordinarily. I'm going to put you all on the spot. Hands up if you've been kissed extraordinarily in your life. Come on, show hands. Come on. Brilliant. Brilliant. I'm happy for you all. And if you didn't put up your hand, hang in there. It'll happen. To be kissed extraordinarily. He yearns to be kissed and kissed extraordinarily. He looks around the cafes and the bars and the streets where his face is a known one, and he takes in the people there, kissing, always kissing. Everybody is at it. There seems to be nobody left who isn't quenching a thirst for ordinary, bland kisses, wishy-washy kisses. He yearns for more than those. A harrowing kiss, he thinks, just might be extraordinary. And he imagines this, being on the receiving end of a kiss that could only be described as harrowing. She need not be beautiful. It would be better, perhaps, if she wasn't. Why? Who knows? He imagines being left somehow altered by it, being so perfectly harrowed that he'd never quite come back to himself after.
And that's why I love so many writing competitions. Here we have, is it Jared Hicks? We have Jared in the house. Keep going, Jared. Keep going, guys. Jared needs another second. Keep laughing. He's a long way to walk, Jared. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you. This poem is called Confusion. I wrote it after the Twin Towers came down, and tried to neutralise it and put everything into, or blaming it on hate. Okay? Hate found wings full of fuel, stole its way into a September sky. Clouds of fear came closing in, nerves of steel bent to die. Christ and Allah start some songs while mortals flee the maze. Aliens view, a computer game is taking place. Terrorist tree, capitalist nil, with over 3,000 robots that will never play again. Sighs of grief, loved ones lost. Business ticks, thoughts of costs. Insurance seeks subs to spread the load. Media, babble bubbles explode, and all the while a child remains uncollected at a creche. What a mess. I have just 2 questions for my dad. Has Islam shot itself in the foot? Have those who make guns got a blank check? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jared. That was wonderful. I have some very sad news. This is our last performer of the night. Okay, we have 2 more performers tonight. Never mind. So up next is John Clark. Round of applause for John.
Totally impromptu. Flown to life. learn to listen and listen to learn. Heard some words tonight, which got me up here. I remark in the year of 1970 something, he was one, at the Sligo Festival, apprentice hippies, scavenged the site, and went on Whitehouse Point, the good John F. was there. Some departed to the first Glastonbury, but myself and a certain Mr. Fraser set out to hitch our way back to Limerick. Poetry. I carried with me at the time collected poems of W.B. Yeats, and I was fascinated with the hosting of the side. We had bad luck hitching, and myself and Mick ended up sleeping in the back of a van in the scrapyard. But we finally made it to the Five Ways, and Kathleen prompted this memory tonight in that the Five Ways and the hosting of the sigh, that when the sigh are on the wind and you can feel it, you're kind of obliged to throw them a token. You'll be okay, and if not, it's bad luck. I threw a token into the wind, and I also grabbed some wild flowers and leaves and put it in the book. And they are still in the book, 50 years later, at this moment in time, somewhere in a box. But the 50 years later, I'm grateful to mention the years and the days, and that the years have passed. It's a good year and it's a good day to see the faces here.
That was lovely, John. Thank you so much. Lovely thing to think about as we're starting to finish up here tonight. So as I was mentioning, the bad news is that we have one reader left. The good news is we have one wonderful reader left.
I wasn't going to do this, and I have to admit to you all that I'm an imposter. But as I look around the room, I see so many of you who were great friends to me and Knut Skinner. As many of you know, on the 12th of May, my world with him collapsed. He is now at peace in Killisboolan. And when he was in the hospital having a stroke, his final book was published. It never got a launch, so I'd like to read a poem, if I may. In this collection, he has a section in which he remembers his childhood, and this particular poem is, at the moment, my favorite in the collection. The speaker, as you know, Knut wrote many fictional narratives, but this is a lyric poem in his own voice. An old stone wall. A young boy, I believe I was he, walked into the back garden of his family home and saw a familiar world transfigured in light. Everything that he saw, from the spreading apple tree to the smallest stone, was sublimely alive. I could have been that boy, but was I in fact he? Did I see an overgrown path to the disused fish pond imbued with spirit? Actual or not, that one morning's perception has remained a comforting thought through challenge after challenge of trying days.
This morning,
Stumbling from word to word, I have paused to look out my study window at an old stone wall. And I take some comfort in the thought that there is, in fact, more to the old stone wall than what I can now see.
Canute.